Okay, took longer to get around to making this than I planned, but this is a really good question. So absolutely, yes, psychiatric disabilities qualify people to get psychiatric service dogs. Where there tends to be a lot of confusion is what that actually means. Because most people, when they think about psychiatric disabilities, they think that what people need is an emotional support animal. But the problem with that is that they think an emotional support animal can go out with them into public spaces just like a service dog, and that is not the case. The only non-pet friendly space that emotional support animals are allowed is housing. And part of the reason for this is that emotional support animals, one, they can be any animal. They don't have to be a dog. And two, they don't require any training at all. The benefit of an emotional support animal is that having an animal in your home is good for people. It helps us feel better. It gives us some way to structure our day when we maybe need a little bit more help with that. They make us happy simply by existing, most of the time. And for many people, having that is a huge benefit and really helps them with their disability, which is why emotional support animals are very valid, even if the only place they're allowed to be that's not pet friendly is at home. The problem is that because of all of these scam sites that are online and a lot of misinformation that's been spread, most people think that if they have a psychiatric disability and they need that extra support when they're going about their daily life out in public, that all they need to do is certify their dog as an emotional support animal and then they can just take their dog with them everywhere. And that's not how that works. What most of these people actually need is a psychiatric service dog. The problem is that most people think emotional support animals and psychiatric service dogs are the same thing, and they're not. They're two very different things. Emotional support animals are pets, with one extra privilege. Psychiatric service dogs are service dogs that have been task trained to mitigate psychiatric disabilities, and they have been trained in tasks for their person in order to make their daily life activities more accessible to them. And there are a ton of different things that psychiatric service dogs can be trained to do. Some of the more common tasks that you see with psychiatric service dogs are things like deep pressure therapy, body blocking, crowd control, behavior interruption. So for example, if you shake your leg right before you start to have a panic attack, a dog can be trained to notice that and nudge you and be like, hey, we should probably go do something different before you have a full-blown panic attack. They can also do things like sighted guides. So if somebody is maybe dissociating, or if you're overwhelmed and overstimulated to the point where you just don't know what to do anymore, your dog can be trained to guide you to a chair, to an exit, to your car. And there's so many other things that they can do. It really depends on what's going to help their person be able to live their life to the fullest. And although emotional support animals are extremely valid and very helpful, I do think a lot of people who are looking to get them really would find much more benefit from a psychiatric service dog, especially considering so many people wanting to get their dog to become an emotional support animal want to do so in order to take them out in public because they just struggle to go to public by themselves without that extra support. If they knew about psychiatric service dogs, they would be able to get that support they need in a way that's actually legal and more beneficial. Not that emotional support isn't helpful, it really is. But dogs can be trained to do so much more to support people. Psychiatric service dogs are incredibly helpful for people with psychiatric disabilities. And I think there are so many people that would benefit from having one that just don't know they exist, because if you Google psychiatric disability and dog, the first thing that's going to come up is emotional support animal, which leads them straight to those scam websites that tells them they can take their dog out in public as long as they pay like $100. And thus the confusion between emotional support animals and psychiatric service dogs. So if y'all have any more questions about psychiatric service dogs, I would be more than happy to go into detail about any questions that you have. I have my own psychiatric service dog, and I work mostly with people who have psychiatric service dogs. So I'm more than happy to answer people's questions about psychiatric service dogs, what they can do, and any other questions that people might have. If you have any questions you want me to answer, let me know.